everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be making Valentine cards, and I'm going to be showing you how to take one die and make two different style cards. And the second card I think you would call a Peekaboo card. So let's get started. For these cards I'm going to be using Coca Rosa Heart Crack cutting die from InLoveArts, and it's called Heart Crack because it creates a crack behind the hearts. And this die will work great with any size card, including an A2 size card. I'm also going to be using this absolutely gorgeous Rose Series 6x6 scrapbook paper from InLoveArts. And from Paper Temptress, I'll be using this white pearl linen cardstock. And from Michaels, I'll be using this gold foil cardstock, and I'll also be using a couple of other scraps that I have. Okay, for my first card, I'm going to be using the white pearl linen from Paper Temptress and gold foil cardstock from Michaels, it's Recollections, and a scrap piece of pink pearlescent cardstock, and a pre-scored card base from Close to My Heart. And so it's already scored. I just fold it in half, and I have an A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have already cut this down to that same size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to be gluing that on there, and then we're going to be doing a little die cutting. I forgot to show you, but I glued that on with my Beacon 3-in-1. Okay, now let's do the die cutting. So for the first die cut, I'm using the white pearl linen cardstock, and I'm using the Love Crack die from InLoveArts. And it does not have to be perfect. You can put it on at any angle you want, but this is the angle that I want it to go at. I kind of like that. So, I think it looks good. I know I'm playing around with it so much, but I just wanted to make sure it was on there good. Okay, so I'll just run this through here. And everything is just going to pop out. That die cuts so beautifully. I mean, I did this. Well, I would say I did it in real time, but I kind of sped it up a little bit while I was running that through. But everything just pops out beautifully. And that's why it's called a Love Crack, because, watch this, it leaves a crack down the center. Interesting name for the die, but I just love that. Okay, now, before I clean up this mess, we're going to do that again. And this time we're going to be using the pink because, well, you'll see why. And so it doesn't matter what angle it goes because I'm just cutting it out. So there's actually going to be room for me to do it twice on there. And again, I'm just going to run this through. And it cut through that beautifully. And so far you've seen it cut through this, which is not really flimsy. It's nice cardstock, but it is thinner than this. This is really thick and sturdy cardstock, and that die just easily cuts through everything. Okay, so I'll show you in a minute why I cut that out. Okay, before I go any further, I want to show you that there is a section right down here at the bottom that does not cut out completely. See if I can get that to focus. There's not like a line to go across. So you can either leave it or you can do what I'm going to do, and I'm pulling it from the back and I am folding it down kind of at an angle because there's a little spot right there, and I am just going to cut that right across there and it'll look like that. Okay, so just grabbing my scissors and cutting right across. Okay, and so it looks like that, which is fine. And while I have my scissors out, I'm going to show you what I was going to do with this, or what I am going to do with this. So these hearts are in there in such a way that they're actually easy to remove. Throwing my scissors around here. Whether you go in with your scissors and just kind of clip around that a little bit. Or you can just pop them out. Well, I don't know if you can do it with this. This is really thicker, so it's a lot thicker than the other one that I did it with. So you can go around and just cut them out, and then once you get them out, you can always trim off any extra little nibs that are showing, because personally, whoops, there you go. So you can see that there's that little nib right there, and just grab your little scissors and just kind of cut around it. And you can do that on any of the little spaces that are on here. Now, I'm not going to make you watch me do it to all of them, but I'm going to be cutting these hearts out, and I'll be right back. Okay, if I was smart, I would have glued this on first so that every time I cut out a heart, I could put it right where it belongs. Now I'm going to have to figure out which heart goes where. And I will also tell you, I think I screwed up at least one of the hearts trying to get them cut out of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this on, and then I'll come back and glue those on. Because, I don't know, I don't think you need to watch me glue something on, or maybe you do. So, I don't know. Part of me thinks that it's got to be absolutely boring to watch someone glue, unless, of course, they have something to, something exciting to talk about, which I don't, because I'm just sitting here blabbing. But I had decided that maybe you guys really do want to see me glue this on, and so I'm just putting a little glue behind some of the hearts as well. You don't have to glue them all, especially little tiny ones. Okay, let me move those out of the way. And you know what? I'm going to stick my head in the way, so I'm just going to glue this down and be back. Yay! I got it on there, and I got it on there centered nicely. And it's beautiful, just the way it is. But I want to have, a little splash of color on here. And so I'm going to be, let me pull this up. I'm going to be gluing on the hearts. And you don't have to have all of the hearts. Actually, I kind of like it with just those two. But then again, I might do 3 or 4 or 5. And I'll probably make that decision as I go along. Just gluing them down. You can even pop them on there if you want a dimension. Use some foam tape. Or you could, like I said, you could have just, leave it plain like I just did. Not plain, but I mean, not change the color of the hearts. But I don't know. I just wanted that pop of color on there. So I'm going to do this. And I will be back when I'm done, because it may take me a few minutes to decide if I'm doing all of the hearts or some of the hearts or what I'm doing. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, it took me a while, so it's a good thing I didn't leave the camera running, but I decided to do every other heart, well, except for those two that are together there. And I was going to save some of the other hearts to put on the inside, but I think I have a different plan. So now it's time to start decorating. I decided to get out my little Xyron sticker maker because I thought it would be less messy than trying to put glue on the back of these little pieces. If you aren't familiar with Xyron, I will try to remember to put a link right here on the screen to a fun little video that I have. Xyron has sticker makers in a variety of sizes, and the one I'm using here is the smallest, so it's perfect for keeping it handy on your craft table. But I actually have 3 other sizes in my craft room. I think that's where I want it. So you've been wondering, what is that sitting there? So these are some pink flat back pearls, and I'm going to put those right along this side. So it's kind of where, why I'm looking at things thinking, is that where I want those hearts? But you know what? It is where I want those hearts. So they can go ahead and stay there. And next I'm going to be adding the pearls. And, well, You can do this with double-sided tape. You can do this with me making a mess. You can do this with your glue. I actually wanted to try to put it on the back of the pearls because I thought it might be easier, but maybe not so much. Okay. And the reason that I used my beacon is because I like to be able to have wiggle room to make sure that I have everything lined up just the way I want it. And that's what I'm doing right now, just making sure that everything is right where I want it. Like, for example, I think that could slide up a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, let me take a look. What do you guys think? I think it's beautiful and it's precious, and you know, the pink and the white and the gold, I think all go together beautifully. Okay, so I'm going to be back in a minute and show you another card. So for this card, I'm using the gold foil cardstock again, and I'm using some of that gorgeous rose scrapbook paper from InLoveArts and a scrap of burgundy pearlescent cardstock. And I decided to camouflage the white edges of the scrapbook paper with distress ink, and for those burgundy hearts that I cut out, I decided to ink those edges as well. So, as you've noticed, I've kind of sped through this because you've already seen this process with the first card and I didn't want to bore you. I had thought about putting some flat back pearls along the edge, but I decided that the floral pattern made this card busy enough, and I just love the way that it turned out. This time I added the hearts all the way top and bottom. And then I used the same gold heart and love you as I did on the other one, just because I thought that fit perfectly for a Valentine card, and the gold brings out the gold that's in the crack. And so there we go. By the way, the color is not correct, and you'll see that in later pictures at the end of the video, but that's actually burgundy, not a rusty orange. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to use that same die to make what I'm going to call a peekaboo card. So, let's get started. Okay, just like the others, this is going to be an A2 size card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I have already cut this layer to fit perfectly on there, but now it's time to do some die cutting. So, we're going to do my favorite technique, which is cutting the center out, but we're not doing it for my normal reason. So I have to be very careful this time to get this lined up perfectly. And I would put some tape on it, but I don't want the tape to leave residue on the foil. So this is going to be a really touchy thing to do. And honestly, so I can keep my head over it, I may have to do this off camera, and if I do, I'm really sorry, but you're going to see why in a minute, okay? So let me get a look here and see if this laid down right. Okay, it did not. Give me a minute. Okay, I was able to get it lined up, and I used a little washi tape on the inside area because it's not going to matter if I get a little tape residue there. So we've got that ready to go. So let me remove that. We're going to hang on to that frame. I'm going to set that aside and peel this off. Oh, look at that. It didn't even leave residue. That's really cool. Didn't leave any residue at all. All right, let me set that aside and get this washi tape off from here because I am not going to need it, I don't think, for the next two pieces. Come on. Okay, I'll scrape you off later. Alrighty, next I'm going to be using, this beautiful floral paper here. And I'm going to be using the same die. Okay, have you figured it out yet? Okay, I'll tell you, because we are going to be doing this inlaid. Ooh, that flower is really pretty. If I put it off to the side, it'll still stay on there. Or maybe I should put it off to this side. Don't you hate that when you actually have to decide where you want to cut your paper? Okay, I'm going to put it right there. And we still have more die cutting to do. Okay, and this piece I'm going to be using on the inside of the card. So I'm going to set that aside, and we're not done die cutting yet, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing because I will probably do this part off camera. So move that. I'm going to take the frame and I am going to glue that right on the front like so. Then I'm going to take this piece and it's going to inlay right smack in there because it was cut with the same die. So it's going to be perfect. Now, because we're going to be doing some die cutting on this after it's been glued down, we needed to have full coverage on the back. Now, some of you know that I like to use a spray adhesive, but I know that you don't. So, actually, really quick, I'm going to show you what you can do. You can take your double-sided tape and you can put it all along the back. Now, I'm not really caring if I get it all the way to the edges because I'm going to go around the edges with my Beacon 3-in-1, and I'm also going to do that in other places on here. So I just wanted to show you really quick that you can do this, and I am not going to completely do this on camera, so I'm going to go do this and I'll be back. Okay, I got the frame glued onto the card, and I've removed all of the backing from the double-sided tape. So now I'm going to take my Beacon 3-in-1 because I am going to need the wiggle room, okay? Definitely. So I'm going to put that across the top and down all the sides and down all these middle areas that didn't get any double-sided tape on it. Okay? And now, very carefully, I'm going to slide this into place. Just like that. Sorry, couldn't talk while I was doing it. Took concentration. Okay, so I have it on there. And before I die cut, I'm going to let the beacon dry because it'll just be easier to die cut when it's not wet. And even though it dries quickly, I'm going to set that aside for the moment, but that is how beautiful it looks right now. And we still have a little die cutting to do. So I'm going to bring this over here, and that was that center piece that we cut out. And I want some gold hearts, and the only way it's going to work is to go at an angle exactly like we, are going to do on the card because the die is too big. So it'll only work on this size card at an angle. So there we go. We have all of that, and now all I have to do is go cut the hearts out. Okay, I've got the hearts cut out and kind of laid in order so that I know where they go this time. And this is the card. Okay, we're going to lay it out here on my Cuttlebug plate. I don't have a Sizzix, so I put it on my Sizzix plate, but whatever you have works for this. And let me grab my die. I'm going to take the die, making sure that the hearts are going the right direction, and I'm going to lay it right across just like so. Put my C plate on top of that, and I'm just kind of watching things carefully here to make sure that nothing moves. which it did move just a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, it's just going to keep moving every time I put that on there. And I'm going to run it through, and this time I'm going to run it back and forth twice just to make sure it cuts, because it is going through you know, extra layers. So let me see if it cut through, because if it didn't, I'm not overly worried about it, but it did. It cut through beautifully. As you can see, the pieces are there, and it has cut all the way through the card. So I'm just going to go through here and make sure that I get all of these pieces out, and then I'm going to show you what we are going to do next. Okay, so this piece that we cut out is going to be the inside of the card, and it's really important to get it centered because it is the same size as this floral piece on the outside that we have die cut through, and so we need it centered so that when it's closed you'll be able to see that through there. So I'm going to be doing that, and while I'm doing that, I just want to tell you how absolutely pleased I am with this die. Okay, it has cut through scrapbook paper. It has cut through foil cardstock. It has cut through really sturdy pearlescent cardstock. It has cut through the white linen cardstock. I mean, literally, I don't know why I'm putting so much glue on here while I'm talking. Oh, holy cow, I was just going to put it around the edges. Anyways, I'm just totally pleased that it is cut through everything, but not just through that. It cut through the scrapbook paper and the card base. And I'm just couldn't be more happy with it. So let me get this on here. And I chose to go with this light color for the inside for the sentiment. Now you're going, well, if you put the sentiment there, it's going to show. That's correct. So you can put a sentiment up here, you can sign it down here, and it won't show. So before I do that, let me close that up and make sure that everything looks good, and it does. So I have it nice and centered. But anyways, that's where you can put your sentiment. You don't have to put it right smack in the center where it's going to be seen. It'll be perfect up here, down here, you know, like that. So there you go. You can see that showing through. And next, I'm going to take those foil pieces, and I'm not sure, again, if I'm going to be using them all or not, but I think I probably will. So I'm going to go glue those on. You don't need to, you know, watch that again, and I'll be right back. And there it is with the hearts on it, and I'll open it up so that you can see it that way. It is so beautiful, especially in person. Okay, and I'm not going to put a heart over the top of that one like I did on the other ones, but I am going to put the love you on there. Okay, there we go. I got it. And that is beautiful, and I'm not adding anything else to the front. That is it. So I'm just going to be putting a sentiment up there, maybe sign my name down there, and I think it's just beautiful. So I just wanted to show you a couple of options for this love crack die, because it does leave a crack if you want to do it all the way through, or just like on the other ones where I didn't. So you have a variety of options. Let me pull the camera up a tiny bit. There we go. Now you can see them all. And they are all beautiful. Plus, I'm going to be putting pictures here on the screen, and you'll be able to get a better look at them. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and I hope that you like these cards and that they've given you a little Valentine inspiration. Let me know in the comments which one you like best. And if you love that die as much as I do, I'll have a link below in the description box to that and the other products that I used, as well as a discount code for InLoveArts should you decide to shop there. And here on the screen, you'll find more videos that might interest you. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.